TG Geeks, episode 288, August 24th, 2020, as sands through the hourglass on a throne. Well, hello, and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre. You name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona, and I switched it up a little bit there so that everybody knows that that's not a pre-recorded intro.
Yeah, you were channeling your inner George Takei, it sounded like. Hello, my. And I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona.
And we are just going to get on with this show.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we have an interview with Katie Edwards, one of our favoritist authors.
Favoritist.
And oh my gosh.
That's a new word.
Yeah, he has got some exciting and interesting news to share
when
with
doesn't
us.
he?
Exactly.
I mean, every time we have him on, it's because there's something really juicy to talk about.
Yeah, so we're going to let him tell you all about that, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. We've got our birthday shout-outs, our featured podcast of the week, and everybody's favorite feedback, as well as some shout-outs. In the second segment, we got a couple of things that we may have time to talk about.
I hope we do.
We'll see.
Because this was fun.
Yeah, weekly recap, and our regular shout-outs, and then the end of the episode. So we're just going to get right to it. And we welcome back to our show Mr. K.D. Edwards, and he has some interesting
And for anybody who doesn't know who Katie Edwards is.
Yeah, we're going to talk to him. He is the author of the Tarot Sequence. And welcome to the show, Keith.
Thanks for having me back, guys.
Sure. So,
Author of my favorite book of all time to
Yes,
this point,
The
I should
Last
say.
Son.
No, The Hanged Man.
The Hanged Man. Oh, well,
it
was The Last Son, and then
It was The
became
Last
Hanged
Son,
Man.
and then I read The Hanged Man. And
then it's going to be...
well, I don't know. Maybe it will. But I've gone on record and said that up to this point, The Hanged Man is the best book I have ever read in my life.
Yeah. So
this is why I come back. I schedule visiting you guys whenever I need an ego boost. I literally time it for when I needed an injection of confidence.
So we're your therapy then.
Your spirit.
We need to start charging for consultation hours.
So, for those listeners that don't know who you are, give us a short explanation, and then how you got into writing and what you have done so far, and then we'll talk about some other things.
Okay. Well, I have 2 books out in the urban fantasy series called the Tarot Sequence. It more or less reimagines a modern-day Atlantis existing in the real world, side-by-side magic and technology. And the new island of Atlantis, the city of New Atlantis, is a resettlement of Nantucket off the coast of Massachusetts. And they're a bit isolated from the world, so the story is centered in that location. And the main protagonist is Rune St. John, the prince of a fallen court. And more or less the entire series is his story arc. And one of the main themes of the series is found family, and also very much heavily represent lesbian and gay issues, and of the entire community.
Cool.
Fantastic.
And you kind of got into writing and have always written, but you did some other things that kind of spurred you on to write these novels, correct?
Yeah, I think since I was a kid, I've wanted to be a writer. It's one of the first things I ever remember wanting to be. I started reading at an early age. I watched a ton of TV, had Star Wars action figures, and I would create these elaborate storylines. And all of that led to just a desire that someday this is what I wanted to do with my life. But then life took over for several decades, and the experiences I had living in different places across the country, I think I've lived in, maybe 6 or 7 states, finally, and then eventually wandered into a career that I was really good at as well, and have a job right now which I just adore, and I'm stable enough in my normal life that I've got the spare time, and this was the commitment I made to myself when I was finally felt I was ready, that I would really dive into writing and take it seriously and try to get published. So the last 3 or 4 years of seeing that happen has just been just a dream. It's literally been a dream come true. It's hard to describe it any other way.
Yeah, and I think it was serendipity that brought us together prior to The Last Son release.
Wasn't it through Dwayne Smokey?
Yes. I can't remember exactly how that happened, but he introduced us to you, and I found...
Well, you guys have been, you've been there since the beginning. I mean, you were the first podcast I ever did.
Yeah. So that is really cool. And so you have The Last Son was the first book, and the second book is The Hanged Man, which Ben was just saying.
I gushed over.
Yeah.
I think it's due for a reread.
And so what is it that you're working on now?
I am thrilled to finally be able to announce. It's been a process to get to this point, but I've officially signed the contracts for both Book 3 and Book 4 with Pyre as my publishing house, and there'll be Audible versions as well.
Cool. Wow. Can you tell us anything about the Tarot 3?
I can. I not only, and this is just recently just got permission to be able to talk about this, but I can tell you the title. I'm a little bit nervous. I haven't told anyone yet. So it's actually not only, because if you know anything about books, you don't get necessarily to pick the title as an author. You can suggest something, but ultimately they're going to pick what they think is best from an editorial point of view and a marketing point of view. So I'm really lucky this time that in my head, I've always called this book what I think they're going to call it. And it's the third book of the first trilogy. I have 9 books planned total. So this is a really important book. It's the climax of the first major storyline, and it is called The Hourglass Throne.
Wow.
Ooh, okay, I'm swinging in a big way.
I'm really excited because I've been laying hints for 2 novels.
Yes,
exactly.
Something was building. So readers who've been following me along I think they'll get right away what I mean by the Hourglass Throne.
Oh, I get it.
Exactly.
I get it. Oh man, I'm so excited now. Where are you at on the writing process? I mean, I know that you, for anybody who doesn't follow you, and shame on you, because you know people should follow you because you are so active on Twitter.
Are you shooting on them?
Yes, I am. I'm shooting. You're so very active on Twitter, and because you've written some. I don't call them independent, but you've written some short stories or novellas, if you want to call them that. You know, one that took place between Hanged Man and or between Last Son and the Hanged Man, and then you just wrote another one that's it was to help you kind of deal with the whole COVID-19 quarantine thing. And
literally written it on Twitter.
and you literally wrote the thing and shared it all on Twitter. And so you've had all this stuff that you've been writing. I mean, how has that been affecting your production time?
Well, I got to admit, I did take a break from writing Tarot 3 for quite a while, but part of that's because I love outlining. I just plan incredibly deep outlines before I write, so it's not a lie to say I've been working on the outline for Tarot 3 for years now. I mean, years, probably 7 or 8 years. Brainstorming notes have gone into this file and developed over time into a skeleton of an outline, and then finally into a scene-by-scene analysis. And so the amount of time I spend on the outline is my safety net. So when I sit down in front of the computer, I'm usually influenced by one thing, which is the deadline, because it usually sneaks up on me. And I look at the calendar and I'm like, wow, I've got 3 months to write a novel. And this time it was 2 months. I basically gave myself 2 months where It just works out really well. I'm going to take a little bit of time off in September especially, but all the years I spend working in the outline is going to be condensed into a 2-month writing spree. And then there'll be several months of copy editing and proofreading and things like that. But it's actually going really well. I think maybe because for the first time, instead of getting scared by that and feeling like I waited to the last second, I'm just leaning into it and having fun with it. Having an absolute blast.
Is it the success of how well received the first 2 books have been that is changing your personal outlook and your energy and your excitement towards working on the 3rd book?
Yeah, I can't deny that. The confidence I get from the interaction with readers on a daily basis, what sort of other career do people have where every day someone starts by saying that they love you? Every day someone says a compliment, or they say they thank you for writing a story. They tell you how much it meant to me. I mean, every day I'm interacting with these readers and hearing these amazing stories. And hopefully, I think that's why I work so hard to share free content back with the readers, like the mini stories I did to help myself deal with coronavirus. It's because, I mean, with what they're giving me, I've got to give something else in return. Every author you'll talk to, there are a lot of, especially with gay and lesbian authors like David R. Slayton and Gregory Ash. I know that you've talked with them both recently, and I think they'll say the same thing, that the one thing they didn't expect when they entered writing was the interaction with the readers. You have in your head like what it must be like between authors and readers, and the reality is something just wholly different, especially when you write something that really hits a chord with people and you kind of develop a little bit of a following. It's just, I had no expectations for how wonderful it was going to be, how amazing, what a supportive community my readers are, how kind they are to each other, how they form friendships with each other based on my writing, how people will reach out and say that they're an artist and they've been in a dry spell for a year, and my story made them pick up a pen and create, a sketch. It just blows my mind. I'm blessed.
I'm terribly envious.
And how they've created a meme out of a typo. Yeah.
I just found that out. Okay, this apparently for weeks now, ever since I had published, or months since I published the free novella, The Sunken Mall, I had this really weird typo, and it was attached to a character who swears a lot. So they had all these underground suspicions that it was somehow a new inventive swear that Brand somehow came up with. And they didn't just make memes and joke about it. They literally made emojis. They made an emoji with a spelling mistake. And I just found out last week about that.
Oh my God. I read about it too, and I had to admit I was scratching my head because I understood. Because this was a free distribution, it didn't go through the regular copy editing process like your books have. So any editorial errors that I saw, I just kind of blew past and totally forgot all about because I understood that's what they were. So when people started talking about them, I thought, what?
Yeah, there was that one that was really, it was a real egregious typo.
I don't literally could not even tell you what happened. My guess is I just put my hand down on the keyboard and never went back to it. But I can't even be upset about it because I'm just taking so much pleasure into the conspiracy theories, and I'm going to have to work that into a novel down the road too.
Well, it shows you that people are engaged with your work and engaged with the other people that are engaged with your work. So,
I mean, you have built this community. I know that wasn't your intention when you started this. You just wanted to tell a story, but now because of social media, you have the pleasure of actually being able to see this community as they respond. And I admit to a certain amount of jealousy because podcasters live in the completely opposite side of that scale. We live in very insulated bubbles. So we have no idea what everybody says about us.
And people don't talk about us.
No one talks about us. So we have no idea. So I'm really jealous that you get to have that kind of interaction with your readers like that, because I've seen the artwork.
Oh my gosh.
And I admit to being highly envious. I thought, I wish I could be that kind of creative, because I have seen some absolutely brilliant artwork there that not only accurately describes Rune and his relationship with Bran and his relationship with Adam, But I've seen people do things in their artwork, and you respond saying, oh, wow, you have no idea how well you're foreshadowing this. So it's just so amazing to see that you have built. There is a tarot sequence fandom that you have created here.
Well, I think they created themselves personally. Everyone, you'll hear people talk about Twitter, how it can be a dark place and a rabbit hole for negative opinions. I'm really careful with who I follow, and I also like following people who share my interests in reading and promoting other works of art and talking with each other. And they tend to be just so kind and supportive and genuine that it's been a great experience for me. I mean, Twitter is actually a refuge for me. It's not necessarily like a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. So getting back to something that Ben said earlier, where are you in the process on Tarot 3? Are you
October 1st, I'm going to be handing in the first manuscript. So that's my goal. Yeah. And Fantastic. It's going, when I say that it's like a 2-month window where I'm writing heavily. You have no idea. I am not a morning person, and I've been getting up at between 6:30 and 7 every morning, so I can go out and write for a couple hours before work. Then I write after work. Every day that I'm not writing, I'm also plotting the scene notes for the following day. This is more or less an all hands on deck period, but I'm trying to have fun with it this time. I'm trying to really enjoy it because there are some really moments that I've been waiting to write for years now, and that take place in the Hourglass Throne, and I'm almost there. I'm almost, for instance, going to get to write the 2-chapter arc at Lady Death's compound. I've been waiting to write that for years.
Oh wow!
So it's just so exciting to finally be in this. If anything, the thing that frustrates me most is that the lag time between when I'm done writing and when I'll finally get to share the book with everyone. I just want people to see it now.
I fully understand, because I mean, as excited as I was for The Hanged Man, after reading that book now, I find that I'm just literally going out of my head wanting to dive back into that world and to read something new. And I know that when there was just this horrible delay, but it was also because there was some really weird things going on with publishers that kind of pushed The Hangman back. But it was still an amazing read. So I understand the desire for wanting the fans to read it, especially given the fans that you've got. I mean, they're eating your stuff up. They're devouring everything that comes out of you. Me included. My husband included. So yeah,
and we tell everybody about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Any chance we get, we tell people, you want to read something really great, check these books out. So yeah, they're you can deflate your ego just a little bit now.
It's definitely been. I have a fantastic publishing house, and I love my editor. Rene Sears is amazing. Jared Weisfeld, who owns Start Publishing, which includes my imprint. They're amazing people, and they've gutted my series off the ground. But I also give a lot of credit to readers. The grassroots, word of mouth recommendation has been amazing. It's been very gratifying, very humbled to see. Usually after a year or two of a book being out, you don't see many new reviews, and every day I go into Goodreads and I see a new review, including written reviews, and it's humbling. It's my series is growing. This is what I always wanted, but it's also pressure, especially with the third book, because I really want to end this first trilogy on a strong foot. I'm really happy with the outline and excited to share it, but I am more nervous than I was with my second book. Sophomore pains were nothing compared to, I don't even know what you call third book pains.
Right. Well, that's understandable. This now kind of begs the question. Now, obviously, there's a contract now for books 3 and 4, so that implies that the publisher is very happy. But do you get any sense of how successful? Has the publisher gotten back to you, or has your agent gotten back to you to express the degree of success that the first 2 books of the Tarot sequence have been?
I think it's done well. I know I'm past my first printing on the first book. I know that because I've seen the second printing. I know that the Audible in particular has been really strong. It took 5 times the expectations we had going into it. At the end of the day, I'm a debut author, so I'm a small little cog in this great gear of machinery. But we've exceeded the expectations that I have. That's what I know. Past that, it's really difficult because you never get real-time sales. By the time you get your royalty statements, it's easily, 4 to 6 months beyond when the sales actually happened. Mm-hmm. But the only thing I must be doing well. Otherwise, for them to approach with me with the 2-book contract I'm still surprised. We were planning on eventually, I was going to finish the 3rd book and then I would turn it into them and then we would talk about a deal. For them to approach me to lock in 3 and 4 that was a sign of trust. And that was a humbling moment. That was a moment I'm very proud of personally.
Well, that's cool.
That happened.
Yeah, because that doesn't happen a lot.
No, not like that. And as far as the audiobooks go, well, it also helps that whoever picked that guy to read those first 2 books, Josh, that was a stroke of genius because he really, I could hear the characters in my head as I read the first 2 books. Because I read them before I listened to the audios, and especially with the Hanged Man, when it came time to hearing Josh's take on the Hanged Man, I thought, holy smokes, he is saying what I was hearing in my head. So yeah, they really got a great guy to do that.
When we went in for the Audible because first we had the publishing contract and then we approached Audible, and that was literally, I didn't even talk money. The first thing I said is we wanted some sort of control over the narrator because we want to get Josh back. I can't imagine doing it without him.
And wow. I think he'd want to do it too because my private conversations with him have expressed how much he's really enjoyed the stories, and he likes to see where they're going. So you've got a fan in Josh as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. It always surprises me. Like you, I think, had mentioned on one occasion that there's a type of reader who will buy the book, but they'll also buy the digital version and the hard version, and then they'll buy the Audible.
That's us.
I'm constantly amazed that I have a lot of readers who do that because once they read the story, they like hearing it again, spoken audibly, say when they're driving places. That just blows my mind.
Yeah, I love to listen to audiobooks when I'm working. So and I'm at this point now where it's like, okay, I don't have any more audiobooks to listen to. So I was like, okay, I think it's time to do another pass through the first 2 books of the tarot sequence.
Yeah, but that says a lot about Josh. I mean, you wouldn't want to replay a voice or a narration that grates on you, and he just did such a masterclass job on that.
I have never really listened to audiobooks, but I would like to listen to that one specific swear from Bran. You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, the one that made us laugh out loud when we both read it. Yeah.
It's coming back again, I'll tell you that. But it's not going to be Bran who says it.
Interesting. I would say that Josh did a really good job when he got to that part of the book. It makes me smile every time I hear it.
It makes me smile when I think of it.
Well, that too. It's probably one of the most inventive swears I've ever read. So, which then, it comes back to the big question, and I sense that, and I'm asking, this will be the 3rd time that I'm asking this of you, because I sense that there's an evolution that's taking place here, and that is, how much are these characters directing? Now, obviously, as you said earlier, you're doing a lot of outlining, a lot of plotting as to where you want these stories to go, but the more you work with these characters, especially having done the Sunken Mall and the quarantine sequence, how much are they really talking to you now?
Oh, all the time. I mean, part of it is because each of them represent a facet of my personality. Brand is my in-your-face, gruff. If he's upset about something, he'll put it into very clear words what he's upset about, whereas Rune tends to be much more of the formal speaker, though probably processing things a little bit sarcastically behind his eyes as he's speaking formally. It gets to the point when I write, because the outline contains a lot of the details, it contains a lot of the plot points that happen in the scenes, and then you got to stitch it together with dialogue. And by far, that I do not have fun with anything more than I have fun with dialogue. That is like the biggest treat when I have a morning when it's mostly a dialogue scene, because they just speak. I basically sit there with my hands on the keyboard, and their voices are already in my head.
So you're taking dictation.
It does. You've told that story before about, was it Michael J. Straczynski?
Joe Michael Straczynski, yeah. How he would do that, yeah. he would take dictation, listening to the characters of Londo and Jakar bicker with each other.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen overnight, but there does reach a point where it just clicks, and they're no longer characters that you're writing. They're characters who are inside your head, and they're ready to speak.
Yes. There's so many more questions I want to ask, but we're up against the red line. It's killing me. So, unfortunately, we're out of time. But if people want to find your stuff, where can they find it?
I definitely spend a lot of time on Twitter. I think that's the heart of my social media presence, and that is at KDEdwards_NC. I also have a website, kd-edwards.com.
Cool.
And they can find your books where?
Right now, I have the links published on Goodreads, and it goes to a Google Drive, and then eventually I'll be uploading them to a page on my website.
So you're everywhere then.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the free novellas and stuff. Otherwise, you can Barnes & Noble, Amazon, independent booksellers. You should be able to find them everywhere, digitally and in print.
Everywhere?
Excellent.
Home Depot?
Yeah, Home Depot, Walmart.
That's a goal. That's a stretch goal.
There we go. Well, thank you so much for being with us again this time.
I love talking to you guys. Thanks for having me back.
All right.
Hello, this is Miguel Rodriguez, director of the Horrible Imaginings Film Festival, and you are listening to the Two Gay Geeks podcast.
I threw that in there for Miguel since the Horrible Imaginings is kicking off and going strong at the moment. And here's a few selected birthdays for August 24th through August the 30th, 2020. August 24th, we have got Marlee Matlin.
Wow.
Actress. Wow, is right.
Well, and because automatically I go to a specific event that we were in attendance at.
Yep, it was. Well, I'll let you tell that in a moment.
Okay.
She started out as Children of a Lesser God. I mean, that was
the Academy.
her big break, and has done quite a number of other things, movies and TV, and oh my gosh. It's incredible.
She's such an advocate.
Yep. And as a child, she attended a synagogue for the deaf.
Oh, good for her.
She was married in Henry Winkler's backyard.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then we did get to see her.
Yes, we attended the Candlelight Processional at Disney World. We were vacationing there in December, and we managed to score tickets for the Candlelight Processional that they do at Christmas time at Epcot, and they always have a celebrity doing it, and this time it was Marlee Matlin, and to watch her sign it was just extraordinary. And to make it even more beautiful, her interpreter, he wasn't reading the same script that she was. In fact, he was reading her, so of course, because he's worked with her so much, he got the sense of her expression and her rhythm and all of that. But I think what moved us most of all is because of where she was standing. I mean, she had, musicians all around her. So she felt the music from the orchestra and the choir. She felt it in her bones. And you saw her sway to the rhythm. And it was so beautiful to watch. One of the best Candlelight Processionals we've ever seen.
Yeah, it was really great. And then also on August 24th, Mason Williams, guitarist, most famous for Classical Gas in 1968. Yes. He actually wrote the theme for Smothers Brothers.
Yes.
And was also featured on that, as well as Glenn Campbell's Good Time Hour and whatnot. But one particular performance on the Smothers Brothers, there was a plexiglass guitar that was created for him by a prop maker there. And he filled it with water and a couple of goldfish.
No.
And finger synced to Classical Gas for that segment.
Oh, that's just bizarre.
Yeah. I think I remember that. I don't
I've
remember
seen
that.
it. I have never
seen
seen
pizzas of it.
I'm sure it's got to be sitting on YouTube somewhere.
I'm sure. And Kenny Baker, actor, most famous as the operator for R2-D2, was supposed to play Wicket, an Ewok, but got ill and it went to Warwick Davis.
That's right.
Yeah. who kind of started his career.
It gave his career a big jump, yes.
A big jump, yeah.
Because Warwick was just a kid, I think, at the time.
Yeah, he was 15.
Yeah, he was just a teenager.
16, something like that.
And it launched his career. And Warwick, I mean, my God, he's been in everything. But yeah, Kenny Baker, I mean, the fans still remember Kenny, and he did a lot of other films too. I think most notably, where you could see his face would be Time Bandits.
Exactly. He was Fidget. Also, we have Ava DuVernay, a Jill of all trades, if you will.
Yes.
She has done everything in Hollywood. Quite the staple there. You name it, she's done it, from publicity to distribution to producer and director. She's the second woman of color to be part of the director's branch of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
Good for her.
Yeah. And then we have Facebook friend Skip Jones, who we met
at Slice of Sci-Fi.
At Slice of Sci-Fi here when he was visiting,
He was going to be attending Phoenix Comic-Con.
Yeah. And then Michelle Cannon, Tommy Cannon's wife. Happy birthday, Michelle. August 25th, Sean Connery.
Bond,
Actor,
James Bond.
James Bond, yes. One of his tattoos reads Scotland Forever. And
of course it does.
He used to contribute to lots of political campaigns in Scotland and lives outside of Scotland, and said that he would not live in Scotland until it was a independent country of its own.
Indeed.
Yes, and he also worked as a coffin polisher before he took up acting. And he wore a toupee for all of the James Bond films.
All of them, including Dr. No?
Yes.
No kidding.
Yep. I thought it was fascinating.
I didn't know that.
And a number of films, he's donated his entire salary to various charities. Then we have Michael Rennie, actor most known as Klaatu in the 1951 Day the Earth Stood Still. Was a car salesman and a manager of a rope factory before turning to acting. I put him on here because of just the classic Day the Earth Stood Still and Klaatu. You know, you have to. And then the next one is just on here for a real specific reason.
Oh, I can't wait. Although I know who he is.
Yes. Raleigh Fingers, baseball player.
He was a pitcher for the Oakland A's for a time, which is how I know him.
And he's on the list because of his classic handlebar mustache. That was his thing.
He started that for a while, and while he was with the A's, at one point, all the A's players, and we're talking 70s, I think, where they all then grew the handlebar mustache just as a gimmick, and
it was really apparent when they were in the World Series.
Oh yeah,
I mean that was when everybody was doing it then, or they started to do it then. And then we have friend Rebecca Louisa Smith, who's the film festival doctor, and Susan Morton, and Christopher McCombs, who Hamish Downey has interviewed a couple of times. He's the Benza in Japan, and as well as a couple of other things. August the 26th, Katherine Johnson, mathematician, first woman of color to work as a NASA scientist. Her calculations in orbital mechanics were keys to the success of the Apollo missions and were the beginnings of the space shuttle program. She spent 35 years with NASA, and she just recently died in February at the age of 101.
Wow. I think they did an episode on her in the series Timeless.
Yeah, I think so. And then we have Joseph Michel Montgolfier. Was one of the hot air balloonists with his brother, and his first successful experience was in 1782.
Oh, that was just the other day.
Amazing, yeah, just the other day. Chris Pine, actor, Star Trek and Wonder Woman, and was considered for Tron Legacy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, as the kid.
Yeah.
Who went? The role went to Garrett Hedlund.
Right. And let's see. And then we have Facebook and friend S.J. Shower, used to be known as Sean from Edwards.
Yes.
He's an author in his own right. Some pretty good, interesting novels that he's written. And then James Freitas, August the 27th, Alex Lifeson, guitarist.
Rush.
Yes. I won't even attempt to pronounce his real
last
name.
It's Yugoslavian.
lots of
Forget it.
V's and B's and this and that and the
Yeah.
other. Carl Bosch, chemist. The Haber-Bosch process that separates nitrogen from the air and turns it into ammonia to produce fertilizer. That was his process. A big, at one time, the largest chemical company in the world, and still feeds more than a third of the population with the fertilizer that is created from the nitrogen, that process, because it used to be very hard to produce ammonia. So then we have Dean Devlin, screenwriter, Stargate, Independence Day, Godzilla, and writer for SG-1, Atlantis, Universe. His mother...
I didn't know he wrote for the TV shows, though.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Anyway, his mother,
Pilar Surratt, was in the original series Wolf in the Fold.
really?
Yes.
I wonder which part.
She was just a small part.
Just a small part.
Yeah.
Huh?
And she brought home a phaser as a souvenir to him.
Wow. How about that?
August, let's see. And then we have Olive Cohen, a former coworker of mine, and Josh Morris. August the 28th, Jack Kirby, the King.
Well, yeah.
Comic book artist, writer, editor. Created Captain America in 1940 for Timely Comics, the predecessor of Marvel. And in the 60s with Stan Lee, created many of the classics of Marvel.
They defined the entire Marvel universe in the comic books, just between those two.
In the 70s, he moved over to DC and did work there as well. Then we have Donald O'Connor, dancer. You could call him a hoofer, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Singing in the Rain. Oh, my gosh, his Make 'em Laugh.
It's
the story is that after that...
Oh, he collapsed.
They did it several
They
times.
had to do it twice, I think.
And he spent the next couple of days
Just
recovering.
Because he was just beaten up by doing that.
Yep. Richard Tucker, a tenor, started his career in 1945 through the early 70s. And after his death, the Richard Tucker Music Foundation was established to award grants to promising young talent. Renee Fleming was a recipient of the Richard Tucker Foundation grant, and an incredible tenor. And then we have Umberto Giordano, opera composer. Two of his operas are really... He wrote quite a number of operas, but there's only two that really survive today and are still performed. Andrea Chenier and Fedora.
Fedora, yeah.
And Richard Tucker sang in both of those.
Of course he did.
So, August 29th, Charlie Parker.
Wait a minute.
Oops. I'm sorry. Also on August the 28th, we had Dominique Choisy. It's My Life as James... What was it?
Oh, my God. My Life with James Dean or something like that.
It was... What a wonderful
French film.
It's
a gay romance.
Yep.
But delightful, and it's very French in its humor.
Yeah, very, very French.
Yeah, mi avec, Ma vie avec James Dean. So
Yeah,
it's just My Life with James Dean.
Yep. And then August 29th, Charlie Parker, saxophonist, referred to as the Yardbird, died tragically of a heroin overdose.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, that was the era in the 20s and 30s
common.
and 40s that they did to escape, all these drugs to escape. Well, it's still today, you make too much money, And then Arizona Opera actually had that was it last year or 2 years ago?
That's hard to tell now. I'm not sure. It might have been 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's the Yardbird was an opera that they performed, a modern opera about Charlie Parker's
It was
life.
2 years ago.
Yep. Dinah Washington, singer. Oh, my gosh. Lovely woman of color whose voice had a certain richness made for jazz. What a Difference a Day Makes was hers.
Yes.
Just a beautiful song. And then we have Robin Leach, host of the Lifestyles
of the Rich and Famous.
Host of the Lifestyles of the Down and Destitute.
Yeah.
Or Rich and Famous. The story is that that's how he did his voiceovers. He actually moved away from the microphone and screamed into it, "This is Robin Leach!" And
so he would
and
do
that
that,
was
that
how he
heavy
would,
projecting.
yeah, do that. And I can't do that because I'm sitting down here and hunched over. So anyway, then we have Camden Campbell, a Facebook friend. August 30th, Mary Shelley, writer, Modern Prometheus in 1818.
Yeah.
She lived a tumultuous life. Oh my gosh. She got involved with Percy Bysshe Shelley while he was still married. They traveled Europe while he was still married.
Scandalous.
Came back pregnant.
More scandal.
And they were ostracized for many years. And then Harriet, Shelley's wife, committed suicide.
Yeah, because if
And
I remember
then
right,
they married.
she had no intention of divorcing him.
Yep. And then while in Geneva for the summer with several personalities, Lord Byron being one of them, she conceived of Frankenstein.
Yeah, she's accused a lot of creating this, I don't want to call it a meme. It's just this idea in science fiction that science is the villain.
Yeah. But
because, I mean, here she creates this character of Dr. Frankenstein, and what does he do? He creates a monster. So therefore, science is
not intended to be a monster.
No, but that's
though.
that's what's translated into today, and
Right.
you know, now it's viewed that science is evil, science is at best amoral, and therefore cannot be trusted. You know, everybody likes, you know, anytime something does something wrong. Anytime you see something wrong on television or on movies that is the fault of science, everybody says, it's your fault, Mary Shelley.
There you go. And then we have John Phillips, singer, founder of the Mamas and the Papas.
Ah, yes.
And then Shirley Booth, actress.
Hazel,
exactly. And then who are these two guys?
my brothers.
Mark Hughes and Daniel Hughes. Happy birthday to the Hughes boys. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name.
Not anymore.
They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast. You'll love it.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
It's our feedback time, and all of these comments were in response to articles that we ran this past week, and the links for each of these articles will appear in the show notes for this episode at tggeeks.com, starting with regarding uplifting short film, The Gesture and the Word brings a much-needed touch of positivity in today's world. We got a comment from Cheek Art PR. They were the ones who actually alerted us to this film. They left this comment on Twitter, and they say, "Thank you, TG Geeks, for sharing a lovely film, The Gesture and the Word by Helen Alexis Yanov." Moving on, regarding Ben's gay breakdown, beware the Fall of Hyperion. This is a movie that I reviewed from Here TV. Got a comment from the Bionic Geek himself, Roy Roberts. Hey. He says, phew, for a minute there I thought Ben was going after the book by Dan Simmons, and I was going to ask, why? No, I went after a really dreadful movie. That's what I did. And then moving on, regarding Andrea's Angle, the Umbrella Academy Season 2 wrap-up, unexpected twists and character growth. Got a comment from Mark Ross, and he says, loved the second season. I want more. We all do.
Yes.
And then, to close things off, this is regarding TG Geeks episode number 286, where we interviewed Elena Joy of Pride and Joy Foundation, and we got a comment from the Pride and Joy Foundation, and it was such an honor. Loved getting to know you guys. 2 awesome guys to chat with. I feel lucky to now count them as friends. Ditto,
Yay.
ditto, ditto. And that is our feedback for this week.
Yes. Actually, also, I want to say that Arco left a comment on our YouTube episode where he usually leaves the comments about the most recent one.
Yeah, I've got that noted.
But
did you want to comment on it?
I want to comment on it.
Okay, go ahead.
Because yes, you put on your social justice warrior hat and said that we probably should not use the term spirit animal. Now, I take exception to that, even though I look very, very, very white. I do have some Indian blood, so technically I could use that term.
Well, I say something to that too. Yeah.
I will, not acquiesce, but I will be sensitive about that and not use that.
I commented on that, and I said, I wasn't the least bit offended by it. I'm American Indian. I've got Paiute in me, and you're from Oklahoma, and
Cherokee Indian.
You got Cherokee, but also, Oklahoma, that's the headquarters of the 5 civilized tribes.
Yep.
So, and you've been such a champion and vocal supporter of them. And as I said, I was not the least bit offended by it.
Well,
it didn't bother me.
I understand.
Yeah, I understand how some people can feel maybe that's inappropriate, but it didn't bother me.
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah, it did not bother me, even though it was said with a lighthearted tone. I was not offended because I knew it was not. I knew that joke was not done in the spirit of hate.
Right.
It was done purely out of love and fun.
So, anyway, there you are.
I was
just going to say, I am very white, but I do have Indian blood in me.
Well, yes. I think if you're from Oklahoma, everybody's got a bit of Indian in them. You can't avoid it.
Anyway, if you want to leave a comment, you can do that on our Facebook page, or you can do it on Twitter, Instagram, or directly at tggeeks.com on each episode or article that we have. We also have a listener feedback line. I don't know what word I was going to use there, but it was going to come out all wrong.
Visitor feedback line.
Yeah, we a visitor feedback line. Yes. If you visit, you have a feedback line. Yes. That you can call. You can leave a voicemail for us, and we will play that on air. Call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice. As everybody knows, we are huge supporters of independent creators, whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others. We want you to be able to go and see their stuff, even though the con scene or convention scene has disappeared for this year. Go take a look at their stuff. Go to their websites, go to their Etsy pages, go to their Facebook pages, go to their Twitter, and find out where you can see more about what they are doing or what they have done. And if you feel so inclined, buy something that they have produced. Talk to other people about what they have produced. Talk to them. See what's coming up. You never know. You might find something interesting. Please consider supporting independent creators. The Joshua Tree Feeding Program is a 501c3 nonprofit food pantry for the HIV/AIDS community for Maricopa and Pinal counties. They set up just like a store, so the clients can pick and choose the food they want, and it empowers them so that no food is wasted. They don't get just a box of food. Please consider supporting Joshua Tree right now during these perilous times with a single monthly gift or a monthly recurring gift. That's even better. Go to jtfp.org and give to that organization. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Well, we've got enough time to share something terribly amusing that happened twice
this week.
Twice now. 2 nights in a row. This has happened from 2 different television shows, and this just goes to show how geeky we are.
And real nerds.
Yeah, we're such nerds. And it's the first time we were watching an episode of Star Trek Voyager, because we just started doing a rewatch on that.
And they made some comment about, they just came out of a dark matter nebula. And I said, what?
Yeah, I immediately paused and said, now wait, let's think about
Let's
this just
talk
for a
about
moment.
this for a minute.
And you were the first one to chime in and says it would make more sense if the nebula was like dark energy.
Exactly.
And that would make it a heck of a lot more exotic. But I don't think as many people are familiar with dark energy as they are with dark matter. So I think that's why they went with that one. Technically, it could work, but I still say it's wrong.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that we routinely stop episodes of things that we are watching or movies that we're watching and discuss what's going on.
Yeah, we analyze,
especially if it's a science thing. And I'll say after we talk about this next one. But that one was fun. We went on like a 15-minute. I was looking up dark matter and dark energy, and then we were talking about it and this and that and the other, and it was on. And then finally it's like, okay. Continue on.
But then he shared it on Twitter, and the comments were amusing.
Yeah.
I felt like commenting back and saying relationship goals accomplished, or something like that.
Exactly. And then...
Oh, God. Last night
we were watching
Eureka.
Aye. Oh, my God. Now, I will have to say that Eureka is one of those shows that you take a lot of things with a grain of salt, because the whole show has been set up to be fantastical to begin with, and far out and fringe ideas and weird stuff. And now they do have some good, interesting scientific things that they talk about. A
lot of interesting theoretical stuff.
Borrow from. But this one,
was beyond
we both just this was beyond the pale and said, "Whoa, stop the episode!"
I couldn't even get past this one line, and it's all about how there's this thing called Nemesis. It is a neutron star that is theorized to be in binary orbit with the sun.
Yes.
And it crosses the Earth's orbit every 65 million years, not to mention the fact that its effect is actually outside of our own heliopause. And I said, stop!
What? No!
Yeah.
We both were saying, no!
This isn't right.
Nothing is right about this.
Nothing was right about it.
At all.
No,
if there was a neutron star even I mean, the closest neutron star is 400 light years from us.
Exactly.
If there was a neutron star that was within 3 light years of us, we would
know
feel
about
the
it.
effects of it.
We would know very much about it. Yeah.
So we went on
And
another jaunt.
And I got really hung up on the idea that, okay, we've got a neutron star that is theoretically a binary with our own sun, and yet because they also say that it won't approach our system for another 2,000 years. And I thought, how can it be a binary? It's like it's got an orbit bigger than Halley's Comet.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't make it a binary.
65 million years. Yeah.
Well, every 65 million years it crosses the Earth's orbit. And I thought, okay, that doesn't sound like a binary sun to me.
No, that's a rogue.
It's a rogue star that just happens to, swing around us like a comet.
Exactly.
That's not a binary system. So, man, terminology wrong all over the place. But, boy, we had fun really nerding out on that one.
Yeah, we looking up neutron stars and
doing all sorts of math on that.
And we were trying to figure out, in 65 million years, how does that translate into light years? And then it's like, no, I can't make the time and distance calculation work right. And,
yeah, nothing about it. It was a failure all over the place. But it was so much
fun. My head hurt.
I know, but we both just immediately nerded out on that one. It was so funny.
So, yes, after 24 years.
We're still the Two Gay Geeks, people.
We're still the Two Gay Geeks.
Here we are.
And truly are.
Yep. And here we're going to do a weekly review of all the things we ran on our website this past week at tggeeks.com. And each of these articles will have their links in the show notes for this episode at tggeeks.com. Starting with Sunday, August 16th, Nerdy Chupacabras, issue number 9. And then on Monday the 17th, TG Geeks episode number 287. On Tuesday the 18th, Ben's a Gay Breakdown, Look to the Deadly Skies. Actually, one of my more positive reviews. Katie Edwards' new tarot series book, The Hourglass Throne, announced. And, of course, you know all about that from listening to our interview at the top of the show. And then on Wednesday, the 19th, Amazon Prime Video launches Welcome to the Blumhouse, a slate of 8 thriller films. I think that's very exciting. Yep. On Thursday the 20th, Andrea's Angle, complex and compelling characters make up Chemical Hearts. On Friday the 21st, Hamish Downey's 5 Questions with Isaac Mahaffey, or Mahaffey, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. I'm going to go with Mahaffey. And then on Saturday the 22nd, This Got Made, hosted by Carlton Tetley, episode 6, Elf Warrior number 1. Oh, I laughed so hard at that one.
If you are not watching this,
oh, you have to.
Oh my God, you go and find the first one, and it is.
These are hilarious.
Hilarious. You will love it. Carlton Tetley, the Blue
Muppet.
Blue Muppet. Yes. Find all these things at tggeeks.com.
Have a couple of shout-outs that we need to make. First, to the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News for republishing our content from time to time, put up by the human Arkle, Brian Weber. You heard us talk about him a little bit earlier in the show. You can find the Post-Dispatch News by finding him on Twitter. Search for Arkle at ARKLE. And you can also look for Arkle Studios on YouTube. That'd be youtube.com/Arkle Studios. Brian has a number of projects. His Shameless Cash Grab series, his Rants vs. Zombies series, and his game videos of Trick and Treat, as well as Star Trek Online.
Did he say it all right?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I was reading it very carefully. And I always have to really be careful when I get to Shameless, because you have corrupted my brain. I want to say Nameless Cash Grab, but no, I will not do that until now. We must also give some shout outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our lovely stuff on their pages. First, Two Gay Geeks After Hours. They literally said that we could share away our content. Their URL is facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours. That's all one word. And then to The Gay Geek for allowing us to do the same. And the URL is facebook.com/groups/thegaygeek. And we must give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And we can be found on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Krypton Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays. And listen to their other content. They are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can surf the internet while you are listening to our episode on your device. Well, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast.
Who was that supposed to be?
I don't know. Check out. It was something in me that had to get out. Be sure to check out this
like
article
bad gas?
for this webcast, yes, episode. We're going to have several links on the page of things that we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. From TG Squared Studios, I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to yourself and others. Stay home, stay safe, and stay sane. Peace.
Cheers.